We got some children that are on a bus, and they're going to come here to the vehicle assembly building, and the administrator and I are going to jump on the bus and surprise them.
We're going to give them the opportunity to come in and go up the elevator with the rocket.
Wow! It's so cool! Look at that thing! Whoa, that's awesome!
Hey guys, would you like to see a moon rocket? Because it is the future of our country, indeed the future of the world. And we saw what our space program does for science and technology and engineering and mathematics. We saw that in the Apollo generation.
All right, guys, what do you think? What I hope to achieve today is inspiring a new generation. I mean, the more people that we can get to see up close and personal this rocket, it's awe-inspiring. And I cannot wait till the launch. When America sees our rocket actually launch on a test flight to the moon, you know, it's just going to spark a whole new push for what we are doing.
Best day of my whole life ever. It's going to be incredible. It was a dream come true.
This rocket is definitely going to the moon.
I think it's really amazing.
And I was actually really excited because I've never seen a rocket like this close up.
Now we have the Artemis generation. This is a new generation of us going back to the moon to learn and live, and then we're going to Mars.
NASA is going back to the moon. And our part, what we do for NASA, is so essential it wouldn't happen without us. We are in charge of creating the powerhouse of the Orion spacecraft called the European Service Module, in short ESM. This ESM will provide all the critical functions for the spacecraft, including the propulsion and everything the astronauts will need to survive, from oxygen to water to temperature control, so really, really essential.
That we are playing such a critical role for NASA is a really special feeling. It is huge recognition that they've placed their trust in us when it comes to ensuring the safety of human lives, pushing the boundaries in space. And it is truly inspiring that this marks the first time that NASA has chosen Airbus, a company mainly based outside the US, to deliver critical functions for a spacecraft that will carry humans into space. This trust is humbling. It must come with an even higher sense of accountability for what we do.
Humans are going back to moon, and this time to stay there. What could be more exciting? So it is extremely exciting times, not only for our Airbus teams across Germany, Spain and France. We worked hard to design and build the essential part of the spacecraft, leveraging decades of experience and know-how in our space exploration domain. And I feel privileged to be part of a company whose teams are enabling humans to return to the moon. It truly is a historic mission.
Why we need to go back to the moon? Going back to the moon today is totally different to the Apollo missions of 50 years ago. Artemis is not part of a space race between nations. It's about humanity going there to stay and to learn what potential the moon may hold for a better life on Earth. If we learn how to live on the moon, that means we'll have mastered a multitude of technologies, from generation of oxygen and energy to creation of habitable structures. The technology boost from this back on Earth could be phenomenal, as happened after the Apollo missions, which ultimately led to the high-tech sector and the computers and smartphones we use today. But as the old saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. Just as we do not want to do to space what we've done to our oceans, we have a real responsibility in this new lunar epic. As a responsible company, we will continue to develop solutions to make this world safer, fairer, and a better place to live.
The sky is not our limit. At Airbus, we are a force for good. And we will continue to pioneer and push the boundaries of technology
to achieve great things, whether on the ground, in the air, or in space, and in this great part.
Artemis is our 21st century return to the moon. Together, NASA, international space agencies, and a growing global space industry will explore Earth's nearest neighbor with advanced robotics and our next generation of astronauts. But where will our astronauts explore? The moon is a treasure trove of scientific discovery, and NASA has its sights set on the South Pole. This mysterious region features soaring mountains and deep craters, leading to unique locations that experience nearly continuous sunlight, in contrast to nearby depressions that never see the sun. Artemis 3 will mark humanity's return to the lunar surface for the first time since 1972. NASA has identified 13 regions near the South Pole that meet safety requirements for landing and present opportunities to search for lunar resources. Each region can also help us learn more about the history of the moon and gain a better understanding of our place in the solar system. These 13 candidate landing regions represent a diversity of features in the lunar South Pole, ranging from the summits of mountains rising miles above their surroundings to the rims of large craters. These features together act to both expose and preserve billions of years of geologic history. Using robotic orbiters and rovers, NASA and the global science community will continue to study these regions before selecting the Artemis 3 landing site. The astronauts selected for this bold expedition will literally and figuratively shine a light on some of the deepest, darkest areas of the solar system, revealing ancient secrets of the universe.
As the Artemis mission's journey to the moon, finding and understanding water will be key to establishing a renewed presence there. Water is critical to life and can be broken into hydrogen and oxygen, which can serve as rocket fuel. The Lunar Ice Cube mission, led by Morehead State University, will carry a NASA instrument called BIRCHES to investigate water ice on the moon. Lunar Ice Cube is a small satellite designed to provide observations at diverse lunar regions to better understand the moon's water cycle. NASA scientists will use BIRCHES data to understand where water is, what its origins are, and how we can use it. BIRCHES will also help map water in the exosphere, an extremely thin volume of atmosphere surrounding the moon. Scientists are interested in understanding the absorption and release of water in the moon's regolith, dust and rocks on the lunar surface. This research will help scientists and engineers better understand changes to water on the moon over time. BIRCHES uses a similar technology that flew on the OSIRIS-REx mission, which studied the asteroid Bennu. However, BIRCHES has been miniaturized to 1/6 the mass of the instrument on OSIRIS-REx and is roughly the size of an 8-inch tissue box. The Lunar Ice Cube spacecraft and BIRCHES instrument will launch as a secondary payload on the Artemis 1 mission, helping pave the way for future crew.
The historic journey to the moon with a tiny NASA spacecraft has been accomplished. The Capstone probe, weighing 55 pounds or 25 kilograms, entered orbit around the moon on Sunday evening, November 13th, becoming the first CubeSat to visit the Earth's closest friend. In a short statement, NASA officials said that the milestone happened after a successful engine run that finished at 7:39 p.m. November 14th. The maneuver placed Capstone, short for Cislunar Autonomous, Positioning System Technology Operations, and Navigation Experiment, in a near rectilinear halo orbit, or NRHO, around the Moon, a highly elliptical orbit that NASA's Gateway space station will also utilize. NASA intends to launch the first components of Gateway, a critical component of the Artemis lunar mission program, in 2024. But first, the agency needs to understand more about lunar NRHOs, which is where Capstone comes in. During a 6-month journey, the microwave-sized spacecraft will test the suspected stability of this orbit, which no spacecraft has ever flown in before. Capstone will also conduct communication and navigation experiments, some in collaboration with NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, which has been orbiting the Moon since 2009. Capstone, on the other hand, isn't quite ready to get started. It still has to fine-tune its course around the Moon. Capstone's journey to lunar orbit was not free of incident. On June 28th, the probe was launched atop a Rocket Lab Electron launcher, beginning a 4.5-month journey that followed gravitational curves. On July 4th, the Capstone team lost touch with the probe shortly before it detached from Rocket Lab's Photon spacecraft bus. They immediately detected and resolved the issue, an incorrectly formatted command, and had Capstone back on track the following day. 2 months later, Capstone came into further problems. On September 8th, the probe had a problem during a trajectory-correcting engine burn, causing it to fall and enter a precautionary safe mode. The issue was identified to a faulty valve in Capstone's propulsion system, which was repaired, and the probe was able to resume its historic lunar landing. If all goes as planned, more CubeSats will soon follow in the footsteps of Capstone. The Artemis 1 moon mission, which will take NASA's Orion capsule on an uncrewed shakeout trip to lunar orbit, is set to launch on November 16th. Artemis 1 will also launch 10 ride-along CubeSats, some of which will conduct lunar research. Japan's Omotenashi, or Outstanding Moon Exploration Technologies, demonstrated by Nano Semi-Hard Impactor, will even place a small lander on the Moon. Capstone is a lunar pioneer, but it is not the first CubeSat to go beyond Earth's orbit. That honor belongs to NASA's Marco A and Marco B probes, also known as Wall-E and EVA, which launched in May 2018 with the agency's InSight Mars lander. 6 months later, the 2 CubeSats assisted in beaming home data from InSight's Red Planet landing, and even managed to picture Mars. Let us know what you think in the comments.